as we get a fantastic run down the main straight and into the center as we see an opportunity. Down the inside we go. We release the brakes and then... Hello and welcome to the Sim Racing Time Machine. My name is Robin and I let you vote on the season you want me to tackle next on this channel. And with an overwhelming majority, you have elected the 1999 Formula 1 season. And that was a crazy one. Firstly, it was in the middle of Formula 1's V10 era, where the cars arguably sounded their best ever, but 1999 is mostly remembered for its amazing title fight. Now, it should have been another titanic battle between the giants in F1 at the time, which are Mika Häkkinen and Michael Schumacher, but with Schumacher breaking his leg at Silverstone and therefore missing big parts in the middle of the season, that was not to be. Instead, it was a title fight between Mika Häkkinen, who had a scruffy season, and Eddie Irvine, who almost became the first Ferrari world champion since the 70s. Now imagine if that had actually happened. And if that wasn't crazy enough, it was actually a three-way fight until one fateful day at the Nürburgring as the man, the myth, the legend, Heinz-Harald Frentzen had a fantastic season with Jordan, while Häkkinen wasn't performing to the best of his abilities, and well, Ferrari and Irvine did Ferrari and Irvine things. Now, with me mentioning Frentzen and Jordan, you all know what is going to happen in this series, right? Of course, I will be driving as Heinz-Harald Frentzen to try and complete the ultimate underdog story and make him and Jordan champions of the world. Not only to get some glory for one of F1's most underrated drivers, but also in memory of Eddie Jordan, who sadly passed away earlier this year and whose cars, liveries and attitude brought joy to many of us F1 fans. Now again, I will only be using the tracks of that season that are in Amos 2 at the present moment, so this season begins in Interlagos instead of Melbourne. In real life, this race was won by Mika Häkkinen ahead of Schumacher and Frentzen, so only naturally I will be aiming to equal Frentzen's result by finishing on the podium. And as in the Pierluigi Martini 1991 season, we will always start these races where Frentzen started them, which is P8 in this case. So there is actually a bit of a way to go for us today, as you see the rest of the starting grid before we go racing at Interlagos for round 1 of our 1999 Formula 1 season in Automobilista 2. Now here we are in P8, waiting for the lights to go green at Interlagos, which they do right now, and away we are for the 1999 Formula 1 season in Automobilista 2, and it's not a good start as I'm still busy setting my car up to turn off all the driver aids that are in the car, because that is rather a car from 2001, so it has traction control and automatic upshifts, as we are already trying to make up for that poor start. We had a bit of contact with Herbert into the Senna's and we breezed past Eddie Irvine on the Retro Poster, so actually we are already where we started this race after dropping 3-4 spots immediately off the line. So yeah, as I said, I had to turn off all of the electronic driver aids, which made me lose a couple of positions, but already we are alongside the BAR of Jacques Villeneuve in that infamous zipper livery, which is definitely one of the Formula 1 liveries of all time. You will see it when we see the car from the other side. It's blue on the one hand with one brand of tobacco, and on the other side it's white and red with another brand of tobacco, both under the British-American tobacco umbrella of brands. But we're not here to talk about cigarettes, even though cigarettes were hard to avoid in F1 during that time. So let's focus rather on the race that is going on, as again we get a fantastic run on Jacques Villeneuve round the outside here on the Retro Posta, and even ahead of the braking zone for the Ciudad del Lago. We are ahead of the BAR driver and up to P7. Now the next car up the road is Giancarlo Fisichella, the Italian in the Benetton. Benetton switching to light blue livery due to, of course, tobacco money, as Fisichella has a look against our teammate Damon Hill, and we take the opportunity to just dive down the middle and pass both of them, and somehow we made that one work. Actually, I just wanted to go for one move, but I'll take the two as we're already up to P5, so a fantastic start to this race, still after that poor getaway off the line, and we managed to stay ahead of Damon Hill, our teammate, for the moment. But let's look at that move once again. So here we see Fisichella trying to have a look against Damon Hill, and well, down the middle we go, don't mind if I do. And I think there might even have been a bit of contact with Damon, but still everything looked kind of fine. Let's look at it from Fisichella's onboard. As there we go, look at the power of the slipstream down the main straight, and then, yeah, I think I pushed Damon a bit wide, but that allows Fisichella a bit more room on the inside, as we were briefly 3 wide there in the braking zone. And yeah, unfortunately for Fisichella, he almost, well, he hit the wall there by being distracted by that audacious move that we pulled off there, as we are now just behind the Stuart Ford of Rubens Barrichello, who incredibly qualified 3rd for this race. In real life, he briefly led his home Grand Prix even in the Stuart, until he retired due to a technical issue, which is kind of, it's almost a curse for Barrichello on his home soil here. He is not just from Brazil, but Sao Paulo. I think his grandma just lived across the main straight somewhere. So yeah, what a shame that he never got to taste victory at his home track, because that really is his home track. For the moment, we are preparing to break some Brazilian hearts as we get a fantastic run down the main straight and into the center. As we see an opportunity down the inside we go, we release the brakes, and then I don't even know what I did there. I think lifting off the brakes to try and get ahead of Barrichello, and then it is a clean 360 as we stop at least in the direction of travel, but we lose position to Damon Hill and Giancarlo Fisichella, but immediately we get a run on Fisichella again, and round the outside we go. At least we are still in the points, and we haven't lost too much time, considering that was a full 360 that we did there, as we are now chasing our teammate. And I will let you do now what you probably all came for, and shut up and let you enjoy the sound of the V10 engines. Well, and as you were able to see there, we are much quicker in the infield section, so I think it's only a matter of time when we pass Damon Hill. We weren't close enough in the 2 main overtaking zones of this track, which is coming up now, the run into the centers, though I need to be careful. I'm lacking a bit of confidence after that spin when we try to overtake Rubens Barrichello. Again, we're going for it. Again, I'm a bit conservative, but still I'm alongside, and I again kind of force my way through against my teammate Damon Hill. Oh, poor Eddie Jordan. If he thought there would be a bit of calm at the team now, that he got rid of Ralf Schumacher, well, I have to disappoint you, Eddie. I am just as much as a troublemaker as Ralf is. But opposite of Ralf, I don't know how much my car is worth, and that is an inside joke for all you German watchers out there, as I am getting a good run on Rubens Barrichello once again. This time we want to make it work, and this time it is a different point on the track. Into the Interlagos, I tried to make a move, but still too conservative on the brakes. So that spin from earlier still haunting me in my mind. As again, now begins the infield section where you can't really make a move, or it involves a lot of risk. And again, here, round the outside, we briefly make it alongside, but not enough to actually be able to pull off a move into this right-hander here. And then, again, it is towards Jinsao, and this is where the run on towards the center has already started. So if we get a good exit here, we might get another chance into turn 1. And this is looking decent. Now the slipstream is kicking in, and you can see immediately how we're gaining on the Stewart and down the inside. And I think this time, even ahead of the braking zone, we should be past. I'm very cautious on the brakes, but still, I managed to move past Rubens Barrichello, and now the next car up the road is Michael Schumacher, who is in the position that we want to be in at the end of this race, but he's 12.4 seconds up the road. Still, nothing is lost. We have shown some good pace, and maybe there even is an opportunity to get closer during the pit stop phase, which will definitely happen. But, well, as it usually does, as I usually do, I immediately went to mess things up later that lap, as we now drop out of the points. I have another half spin onto the grass, and yeah, that has lost a huge chunk of time. So I don't think, without any lucky intervention, this would be it for any chances to achieve a podium finish here. Now it is rather a task of making it back into the points. But as I said, there is a phase of pit stops coming up. In 1999, refueling was allowed, and refueling will definitely be necessary because the cars don't have a big enough fuel tank to make this without a pit stop. And as you see, we're up to P5 because some cars ahead of us were already pitting. Now, I had fuel for 2 more laps, which is my strategy of going long and now have the benefit of the lighter and therefore faster car, while they're already driving out there with heavier cars. So the overcut back then was the strategy of choice in most cases. Well, not always. It is a very delicate affair with strategies back at the time. But yeah, here we are. Tires are going off, new tires are going on, but the fuel is the crucial part, and now we should be able to go to the end of the race. So immediately, you see, we were briefly into the race lead before that stop. We dropped down to 5th, we even dropped down to 6th, but ahead of all of the pit stops, we're 9th, so we gained 3 positions, and we are just behind Irvine and Damon Hill, who are having a battle for 4th. So these are the top 6 at the moment, as you can see, and the 2 cars ahead we might be able to catch, and maybe we could even recover up to P4. But, well, there was another twist in this race, as we're starting lap 25, going down the center S, and now this is an interesting one. The safety car is coming out, and that will mean that the whole field will be bunched together. This is also a difference compared to 1991. Not only is there refueling, but there are also safety cars now in that period of Formula 1 already. They happened pretty rarely back in the day, not nearly as frequent as we have them these days. But still, this could be a big opportunity now, as we will be right together with the top 5 of this race. And here is the reason for that safety car. Ricardo Zonta in one of the BARs has stopped in the middle of the road. Some technical problem for him there. The BAR is not really reliable in their first season after they've taken over the Tyrrell team, and this is now already the restart after that safety car period. We are approaching the start-finish line, and when will Mika Hakkinen put the hammer down? He does so now. We were kind of caught napping there, but at least Rubens Barrichello has been caught out as well, so he's not able to make any sort of move. Oh, and there is a Minardi. That is Luca Badoa in the way now. He is a lap down, and he holds up. Oh, Irvine and Frentzen, Irvine and Hill, he almost pushes Irvine White there. A bit of a misunderstanding, and I say thank you very much and move up to P4, and now we're just behind the top 3, and a podium might still be possible. Here's a replay of that restart, and now you see it. Bader isn't really getting out of the way through the Sennas, and then he tries to go out of the way at the exit, and there is a big misunderstanding as Bader makes some room on the inside, but Irvine is already alongside him on the outside, and well, I say thank you very much as chaos ensues behind, and my instincts were luckily right to dive down the inside there. And more good news, as we were able to keep up with the other Ferrari of Michael Schumacher, who is currently in 3rd. And there is now a big opportunity to actually still achieve our race targets. We're getting a fantastic run towards the Sennas. Down the inside we go. This time we are brave on the brakes. Michael Schumacher tries to be even braver, but we had our car alongside, and we are now on the better line, exiting the Sennas onto the Reto Posta. And that is fantastic news, up to P3, and maybe, just maybe, the 2 McLarens of Hakkinen and Coulthard aren't too far away either. So, one can only dream, as I again let you enjoy the V10 sound. Now at this point I was getting very comfortable with that car, which is an absolute joy to drive, especially around this track. So very nimble, yeah, just so much fun. And with that constant V10 roar in your is just such a joy as Mika Häkkinen has retaken the lead from his teammate David Coulthard at the beginning of that lap we are currently on. And we are now all over the back of these two. And we might even benefit from their tussle to snatch an unlikely victory for Frentzen and Jordan in their first race together. Frentzen joined from Williams, who were on a downfall during that season, and Frentzen seemed to have made the absolute right choice by going to Jordan as Häkkinen has dropped behind Coulthard again, and he gets a poor exit out of the Senna's, and we are trying to use that to our advantage as we are alongside Häkkinen. Häkkinen gets a bit of slipstream from Coulthard. We're late on the brakes for the Interlagos though, and we move ahead of Mika Häkkinen. And now, with just under 4 laps to go, it is just one more car that we need to pass to start this season off in the perfect way by winning and sending our title charge on to the best possible start. So, but this is still too early to think about that, as we are not even in the race lead, so this is just one more move that is needed. And then of course we need to defend it to the end, and we see how powerful the slipstream is on the main straight, which is, well, the straight only begins here, but it is a full speed run towards the heavy braking zone of the Senna. As this time I decide not to go for a move, as we have been gaining but not enough to try anything into turn 1. Well, this time again, this is where we are so much better than the AI. The exit of the Senna is on towards Retro Posta. Briefly we move into the race lead, but again, like it was with Barrichello earlier, I'm too cautious on the brakes down the inside into the Interlagos. Now I have a little look. This is never going to work. Why am I doing this? Now I'm getting really over-ambitious, over-aggressive, and I need to calm down because my opportunity will come. There is still... Oh no! Oh, that was silly. Contact with Coulthard. I spin the car around. That is the unsafest rejoin ever, as I get in the way of Irvine and Hill, and down to 4th again we are, and I feel like there is some sort of damage to the car. It feels different than before the contact, and the 3rd spin of this race. Oh, yeah. The master of the bottle is back, and he's just thrown away a race win. And I know that at this point. Which, I'm not gonna lie, it is... it is virtual racing against a computer. But still, this was frustrating to me, and it's all my own fault. I can't blame it on anyone else but myself, so yeah, I'm mad with myself at this point. Luckily, my face is hidden behind the VR headset, but yeah, I was really disappointed there. But at least I managed now to defend from Irvine, so there is at least a bit of hope to still finish this race in 4th, which is probably the best possible finish we could have had without the safety car intervention. Of course, now we know what could have been today, but let's still make this a somewhat happy end by finishing in P4, because that was the maximum that was possible from P8 on the grid, and the McLarens and Schumacher just checking out early on. The safety car gave us an opportunity that we didn't really deserve, especially after spinning twice. And I've put that right by spinning a 3rd time as we move past Eddie Irvine. No, that is Damon Hill. Again, down the Senna's. Again, Eddie Jordan will not have been too happy about his cars battling it out once again, especially after I've just thrown away a race win. But, well, you know what it is? It is what it is, as we are making it round the final proper corner of this track to finish a bittersweet P4. Good points on debut, And again, we have to be happy to finish here because, again, without the safety car, this was the maximum that was possible. So let's just forget about the safety car and what happened afterwards and just say we maximized our result here today. But let's still look at the point scorers today. Coulthard wins ahead of Häkkinen, Schumacher, we finish 4th. Hill and Irvine complete. The point scorers are still only the top 6 are getting points in 1999. Therefore, the Drivers' Championship looks exactly the same. More interesting at this point is the Constructors' Championship because, well, only 3 teams have scored here today, but all 3 of them with both of their cars, McLaren, of course, leading the championship with a 1-2, Ferrari second on countback, as Jordan has the same amount of points. Stewart, BAR and Benetton complete the top 6, but they are all ordered on their highest finish today. Tough luck for Barrichello, who finished 7th for Stewart. And that has been it for round 1 of the 1991 Formula 1 season in Automobilista 2 already. The next race will take place at Imola. It will be the San Marino Grand Prix. Subscribe to not miss that. Leave a like if you did enjoy this video, and I hope to see you all the next time. Until then, goodbye.